Hello, everyone, and welcome to Denise Live. I'm your host, Lotus Group CEO, Shauna Knapp, and today our very special guest is our online marketing expert, Randy Bowers. We're going to be talking website features to grow your campaign online. From landing pages to QR codes to lead capture and more, today Randy's going to share ideas for supporting your marketing campaign at your website. Follow along as we explore how these options are supported in our AgentFire website platform and complement your marketing efforts both online and offline. And if you don't have an AgentFire website, no worries. These ideas are still relevant utilizing your current website, and you can check with your website provider about how to implement those. Or if you're ready for a little website upgrade or to talk about it anyway and your options, I'm going to go ahead and share a link in the chat so you can schedule a consultation with Randy later on our call today. Not later. You're not going to schedule the consultation later on your call. You'll be able to schedule your consultation after the call with Randy. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Randy so we can get techie and nerdy. Randy, take it away.
Hello, everybody. And hey, it is good to see lots of friendly faces in the audience with me today. So I think that, well, over the last 3-4 weeks here, we've been talking a lot about mailing campaigns, physical campaigns, those kinds of things. And today I want to talk a little bit about how you can do campaigns and then augment them, complement them with online activities as well. Or maybe you just want to do online marketing and that your area or your style of marketing, whatever it may be, fits better within that kind of context. Meaning you're just more comfortable with advertising online. You got the chops for it or whatever. But in any case, whether this is to go alongside a print one or solely as an online one, we got a little bit of something here for everybody today. We're going to be looking at a variety of different online campaigns. If you were fortunate enough to be with us at one of our recent coaching meetings, I highlighted one of these online campaigns, which we'll go over again today, called the Nosey Neighbor. But we're going to look at a bunch of other different kinds of online campaigns and some of the tools that exist within AgentFire that can help you get people to your campaign pages and also do a little bit of tracking so you can kind of gauge how successful your campaigns are being, assuming you aren't using additional tracking tools like Google, for example. One of the things that we need to concern ourselves with when we're talking about any kind of campaign is getting in front of our audience, or in the case of when we're talking about websites, we're talking about getting in front of visitors of our website, making more visitors at our website. And when my clients are running their online campaigns, this is the biggest barrier that I see between them having a great looking tool for generating business and actually successfully generating business. So they might have a beautiful landing page, but if nobody sees it, it never gets to do its job. Oh, sorry, you're not actually seeing my landing page because I'm sharing my PowerPoint. All right. Anyways, you might have a beautiful landing page, but nobody's seeing it because nobody's getting there. So we need to talk a little bit about getting in front of those people. How do we do that? We can work our relationships, meaning we've built our sphere database. We have maybe referrals coming to us. That's great too. Those people need an opportunity to be able to get into our website. So are the materials that we're handing out that are available for people to use when making referrals, like business cards or things like that, do they have something on them that allows people to encounter us online? Or do our online spaces represent us in the best way possible? Do they look good? Are they complete? Those kinds of things. And I'm going to be talking more about our online spaces next week when I'm talking about polishing up social media profiles, which can be a silent killer in your business or a silent killer in an awesome way because they're killing your audience and bringing business in. Farming. So if you're doing farming, you're regularly sending things out into the area, you have the opportunity to put QR codes on those materials or a website address or just other ways of getting people to reach out back to you and build up that database. And when you have open houses, if you have a compelling sign-in or something that offers additional information that you could be emailing to people, like a follow-up market report or some amenities or something like that, That's another way that you can be gathering contacts so that you can get your website in front of people. Local marketing and past lead capture efforts. So this is something that kind of builds on itself. Local marketing could be brochures that you have on a turnstile or the local visitors center. It could be brochures that you leave at strategic places within the community. So if you specialize, say, in working with separation properties where husband and wife or a couple are getting divorced or that kind of thing, or maybe you're working with equestrian properties and you have a brochure or handout or something that's strategically positioned at the counter of that place. That's local marketing that can get you in front of people. Or past lead capture efforts. So maybe you've run previous campaigns of one of these kinds and you've built up this list of people, and that can be a resource to you as well. Electronic newsletter signups. One of our clients runs a very successful newsletter that reaches over 5,000 people in Snohomish County. They are basically sharing events once a week that are going on in the local community, and they've really become a go-to and realized a lot of the benefits from that. So electronic newsletters, if you're consistent and if you are putting that out in front of people, can in time turn into a really great resource for getting in touch with people. And of course, a newsletter means there's a link on it or a QR code or something, so that if you are running a campaign to get people's attention, you can use that to supplement getting people to your website. QR codes, we're going to talk about that more later on today. And then social media marketing or search advertising. By social media marketing, we're talking about running advertisements on Facebook or X or someplace like that. And you can often target a particular audience. So it's not just nationwide. You can pick even something as small as a neighborhood, a large neighborhood or part of a city. And search advertising would be advertising that is positioned among search results. So when you go to Google, you see sponsored advertisements, that's search advertising. These are all ways that you can utilize to get in front of visitors. And the second problem that I see when people are using online campaign tools, whether the goal is entirely online marketing or whether it's to complement what they are doing in print, are things like weak lures. So a lure is your call to action to get people to come to your page. Maybe the language isn't very exciting. Maybe it says too much about exactly what they're going to get when they get there. Maybe we could run a whole program on this. In fact, Denise and I taught a course over one summer on writing good lures to get people to take action. Low barriers of access. A good example of this is a page on a website that offers something like a guide, and people can fill out the form, but they can just put meaningless information in there. They don't have to share a real email address or anything like that. And so they get what you want to give away at no cost of authenticity from them. They don't have to be authentic with you. So what you end up with is a bad email address and no way to follow up with them. And what they end up with is the information that you worked hard to create, that you worked hard to get people in front of, but you get nothing for it. That's a low barrier of access. Maybe it's the wrong message for the audience. And that could be as simple as like targeting the wrong area. Or maybe your message is for seniors, but you're filling your pipeline with two-story houses, and that's not a good fit for them. There's lots of examples of the wrong message for the audience. Maybe it's too much text, but your audience is highly mobile, and so they're not going to read all of that. So there's lots of different ways to get the wrong message, and we could talk about that at a future webinar too. And also thinking too small. When we're talking about targeting a neighborhood with advertising, a lot of the agents that I work with get trapped in the idea that they are only speaking to the neighbors within that neighborhood. And actually, there's a lot of opportunity in the nearby area. People who may be interested in, say, buying in that neighborhood, or they're used to live there, or things like that. Your audience is always bigger than just the neighborhood that you are working inside of, especially when you're doing online marketing. So those are some of the kinds of things that we're talking about here when we're talking about wanting to have an effective campaign. Now, what I'd like to do next with you guys is show you some examples of marketing campaigns. Now that we know kind of what doesn't work, I'm going to show you some examples of how we can overcome these different barriers and the messaging that goes along with them. So we build all of our websites on a platform called AgentFire. Everything that I show you today, you can probably build on other platforms, but if you are using something like a brokerage page or that kind of thing, there's probably going to be limitations about what you can do. We have noticed working with a wide number of brokerages to help agents customize pages there, that oftentimes the forms that are offered are very difficult to modify or just outright impossible. And so you're just stuck with a basic contact form, and you're not going to be able to build something that really delivers a custom message like what we're seeing here today. You might also run into design issues that make those forms less effective. So one of the things that I'll show you today, many of these pages don't have a bunch of navigation up at the top or options for people to get away from your message. And that kind of thing can hurt your opportunity to get people to take action on the page, because we want to give them the choice. Are they going to hit the back button and reject it, or are they going to accept the offer that we're putting in front of them and take action? Keep it really simple for them, yeses and nos. Because if we give them the option to explore further throughout our website, kind of like you see here, we've got lots of different buttons, lots of different navigation, this little chat bubble here, then our visitors get distracted from our message. They might think, oh, I'm gonna explore around their website and read their biography and see if I really, I'm interested in this kind of person. Do they have the chops to provide something interesting enough for me to want to read? And then they never come back to your call to action. So we want to trap them there. So this is our example site that we have on our AgentFire website platform, which is just a place where all of your website files live. And I will add links to all of the different campaigns that I'm going to show today up here in the navigation, so that when you want to come back here, whether you're looking at the recording or something like that, you can kind of look at these different examples and steal some of our ideas if you want to. These websites have a back-end area that you can log into. To get there, if you are a AgentFire member, you're just going to go to your website address and add /WP-admin on the end. Once you do that, you're going to be looking at your dashboard. Now, almost all of the features I'm going to show you today, all of the content I'm going to show you today is located in a single place. So if you want to do this on your own, it's not too difficult. You just go to your menu, Site Tools, Lead Pages, and this is the feature we're going to be focusing on today. Like I said, if you were with me at our live training at Encore, I showed you one of these previously, our Nosey Neighbor campaign. Here's our Nosey Neighbor campaign right now, but I've got lots more to show you today. Let's go ahead and talk about this one first, though, since we have it. So Nosey Neighbor campaign. This is a super campaign that you can use in conjunction with your print or entirely online. You can get it in front of people online with a QR code that you've added to a mailer to an area, or maybe you're just doing some kind of online marketing. Maybe it's a letter that you have sent out to the neighborhood about a just sold, like a postcard or something like that. We're already doing that, so why not a QR code that fits onto that postcard with something about learn about your neighbor's journey selling their home, or some other kind of text. whatever the case, we're trying to get people over to this page. And the whole purpose of this is to prey upon neighbors, locals, curiosity about what happened in the sale of that house. Whether it was a real fixer-upper, or whether they just want to know how much it went for, or what was the process. And we're going to educate them and give them an idea of what happened. And at the same time, we are promoting the professional actions that we took to get it done. Now, in a previous example, we showed this for a pending. So we wouldn't say that we just sold it for $605,000. We could say that it pended in X number of days, or days under the average, or whatever it is that makes you look best. And our call to action, which we're going to have a few of along the way, is, in this case, we want people to provide us with a little bit of information so that we can give them of something of value. We scroll down a little bit here. We've got some story that talks about how we worked with that client. And this could be, as you'll see here, we're just kind of, this is very basic. We're just walking them through, how did we meet their neighbor? How did we list their home? What kind of marketing did we use? What happened at closing? Those kinds of things. But this text is pretty basic. We could have talked about what was our marketing plan. We could have talked about the importance of drone photography. We could have talked about how negotiations were set up for a multiple offer situation, or what our pricing plan was, or any number of other things that could be of interest to neighbors that talk about, well, they don't do real estate every day like you and I do. So we're kind of giving them an inside window on how it all went down.
Randy, I want to actually jump in here because I was thinking too, it'd be really interesting to talk about like the home preparation process.
Oh,
So like
yeah.
oftentimes if somebody's preparing a home for sale, the neighbors know, actually, I've just gone through this, right? And so like the neighbors are like, oh, what are you doing up there? You put gravel on the road. You did this, you did this. Yeah, I'm preparing the home for sale. And so, a little bit of structure around like, how did you strategize the particular projects that you decided to take on for this? I mean, I think that could be a great story. And it's like that whole breaking down the fourth wall where you actually get to see like you in action. And so showing some photos, showing some in-process stuff, I think would be phenomenal on this page.
Before and afters,
Oh,
or
yeah,
highlighting
totally.
staging, or, you know what? We put this house on the market, and on day 3, the water heater died. How did we overcome that challenge?
Right. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Things like that. What did we do to find extra dollars in this home? Did we need to do some strategic painting somewhere? Was this a home that we were selling, well, any time of year? Did we do any kind of outdoor staging?
Yeah.
Emphasize the things, the tricks that you had up your sleeve that really made this sale happen. For $50, we added some potted plants to the front porch and increased our price by $5,000.
Yeah.
So
And
things,
this could be like a mini listing presentation that you're doing pre-listing presentation, right? This
yeah.
is an opportunity for you to show your point of difference. So
Yeah.
I love this page. I think it's phenomenal.
We get down a little
That's
bit further, and we're just, knocking it down here even more, talking about how this went down, and sure, it wasn't just 72 photos that sold the property. It wasn't, the fact that we had a couple of hours or whatever. The facts themselves don't matter so much. What we're really showing is like proof of work as a whole. And when you think about it that way, it feels more impressive to the layperson that isn't out there doing real estate every day. They don't get this peek behind the scene where they find out, well, how many views on social media was it really? How many videos did they actually do of the property? It demonstrates work here. And we're still pushing our call to action every step of the way. We have a gallery, sure. Nosy neighbor, they want to see the inside of the house. Let's go ahead and show it to them. We have one of our videos so they can see what's going on at that place. Get a sample of maybe our drone photography or something like that. Whatever's most impressive. We have a testimonial from the seller. Oh, hey, I know those people. Beverly seller. And then finally, if they didn't push one of those buttons already that take us right here, they get to where we have our actual call to action. So this is where we can get, real value out of this page that we've been promoting to people. They've read the story, they have seen our proof of work and our professionalism. They've seen this great looking page that they've been looking at the entire time. It all leaves a really good impression, and now it's time for us to bank on it. Now, we could offer all kinds of things here. We could say, get a free market report and find out what the market's doing in your neighborhood, and say first name, last name, email address, download now. But if you do that, you've just weakened your message for the entire effort that you had above this. Because, well, what are they going to do? Right, Shauna? They're going to put their first name in and say Joe Smith, and they're going to say no thank you at noemail.com. And they're going to get your free market report, and the entire effort was wasted. But here we're going to give them something back eventually, and they can't get us unless they're genuine with us. And we're going to find out a little information along the way too, like, are they in that neighborhood? Maybe they aren't. How can we get in touch with them? Those kinds of things. Now, I would say you don't necessarily need to have like their phone number required here. We've made it required in this example, but if you leave it empty, or sorry, if you leave it so it's not required and they provide it, that should be a tip to you that says this person prefers to be called. It's not just about an email address. I can reach out to them in a more personal way too. So that gives you a little bit more information of how to work with that lead. So that's our nosy neighbor. Everybody wants to know about the journey. We're going to give them exactly what they want. Let's take a look at another example. I want to take a look at the difference between a convert page and a landing page. So when we were looking at our nosy neighbor here, we had this big long form here, and they could put all kinds of information in it. And this was a really kind of involved page. What if we want something that's a little more simple and direct, something we can just put out there in social media and have it getting reposted once a week for us, and just kind of driving curious people towards us, right? So one possible campaign and would be our top single-story homes list. So this could be homes that are currently on the market, preferably currently on the market. We could attract people to listings. Or we could just have examples of great single-story living that's in the area to attract people into the area. So maybe we work in an area that's very popular with retirement. Maybe we're Palm Springs area, or somewhere like one of the many 55+ neighborhoods that are out in the Anacortes area, or something like that. Whatever the case is, we have this call to action along with a little bit of text, maybe a picture of people enjoying single-story homes being posted to social media with a link coming to this page. Now we immediately notice here there's something different about this page. One, it's very short. This is it. There's no extra. And two, the form, there isn't one. All we have is the option for them to continue with Facebook, Google, or to log in with an email address. And what that does is it squeezes them into being more likely to provide us with information that is valid. So if they were to sign in with Facebook, maybe they're already signed in with Facebook. Now they can just click a button rather than seeing this whole dialogue. They can see this continue with Facebook, and we will get whatever that information is from them as they click on this call to action and provide them with a link to our top 10 single story homes, or maybe an email that gets sent to them, something like that. Same thing with Google. And if they choose to continue with email, that gets pre-filled out with whatever information they typically use at their computer. So that can be a great way to get you more credible lead information from somebody than just providing them a form where they can type in anything that they want to. We call these convert pages because there's no option. Remember when I said earlier, we don't have any distractions, there's no navigation, no chat bubbles down here. They got to make a choice. Do they want the 10 single story homes list or do they not? That's a little different from this option right here. It's the same message, but now we are giving them the option to provide any kind of information that they want here. And this is a weak call to action, unless we prompt them differently. When I was talking about weak calls to action and setting low barriers, this is a prime example of doing that. Instant access. These are the kinds of words that may tempt people into providing their information to you, but really they're just going to put in useless information here. If you want to run a more successful lead campaign online, it's going to take a little bit of effort from you beyond just having this page. We need to let them know that we're going to email it to them afterwards, because when we do that, now we're more likely to get an actual email because they can't just get it instantly as soon as they submit the form. If you're going to offer instant access, then you need to have language in here that communicates to that person that they are going to be emailed the thing that they want instant access to, whether it's by you or just automatically. Because if from here, we fill this out and we just pop up a PDF in front of them that has everything, we've won nothing. Our effort was wasted. So I see these kinds of landing pages all the time, and you just got to think one step ahead. How do I get people to do something here? Again, no navigation, though we did include our phone number up here in case they want to give us a call. We've got another example here to illustrate the difference between, well, in my introduction, remember my remarks when I was talking about making assumptions about who your target audience is, and that your campaign might reach people that are both inside of a neighborhood and outside of a neighborhood. Well, here's an example of a campaign that we've devised that specifically looks at people in a neighborhood, but we have another version of it whose language is targeted to people that are outside of our neighborhood. This first one that we're looking at, this is the insiders page. This is for people that actually live in the area. So maybe this is something that goes out with our geographical farming or our just sold postcard or just listed, or maybe it's part of a letter about safety because there's an open house and extra traffic in the neighborhood. Whatever the opportunity is, this page is marketed directly into the neighborhood that we're wanting to work inside of. We've given people this sense of exclusivity about what's going on in their neighborhood. And we're also giving them the opportunity to get ahead of the pack. And we're also specifically calling out the name of their neighborhood. So they know they didn't just arrive here on some generic page. This really is just exactly for them. Now, when they subscribe to this, basically all we're doing is we're just setting them up with a drip campaign that you have set up in advance that lets them get listings, but you're going to get their email address, which allows you to follow up with them periodically when those emails go out. Now, if you are not very diligent about this and you're just letting the system send drip emails out and you never bother following up with a personal message or something that at least feels like it could be a personal message, you're probably not going to get the same results here. But if you are providing this good information and then you send out an email to somebody and says, hey, in our last edition, one of the homes that were featured were this one that came onto the market. I just really want to call attention to this particular one because it has these features or that kind of thing. It feels like, excuse me, like you're adding more to what's going on and you're putting your own voice into the conversation and not just sending people automated listings every week.
Randy, I'll ask you some questions at the end about CRMs and drip campaigns. So we've got, I'm sure that there's lots of questions about that. People are always talking about CRMs and drip campaigns.
Oh yeah. You bet. We can definitely talk about that. Here's the same page, but not quite the same. This is to target people that are outside of this neighborhood. So this one, we're going to put in our social media, advertising that gets a wide view, but is kind of in that area, people that are familiar with what this market is. And it's the same kind of thing. Maybe these are potential buyers. So here, this is possibly potential sellers because they're probably not going to buy in their same neighborhood. What we're really trying to do is draw them into our sphere of influence so that we can provide them with an opportunity to consult them, to send them information about our sales process. We're getting their email address so we can follow up after the sale and send them information about how did that sale go? Maybe send them a link to that nosy neighbor, right? You see how these kind of work together. Over here, on the other hand, these are people that are outside of the area. So these are maybe people that are interested in buying into our geographical farm. So we can kind of build a list. I know a couple of very successful agents in the Palm Springs area where I've been doing a lot of business lately. And one of the things that I've appreciated as a absentee seller that's interested in the area is that some of these agents are they've created a list and then they're sending out information about what's going on in the area to promote buying opportunities inside of the area. And this is the kind of thing. So inside versus outside. Other common campaigns that we see from people, we see school district campaigns, particularly if you're targeting even first-time buyers or second home buyers, move-up buyers because they need a bigger home because they've got kids that are growing up and now they're concerned about schools because they can't just have the kids sleeping in the same room as them or in the closet or in the guest room or wherever they have them. They need a bigger home. And now they're thinking about their child's education. So we have a very simple offer here to get people more information about homes that are becoming available in this area. Now, this one is great because in this campaign, the people that fill out this form have what we call intent. They are looking for this information and it really easily communicates that they are looking for something specifically. They are in the process of making decisions. This is exactly where we want to be offering our expertise at this moment where they are looking for somebody and looking for information to help them make that decision. So we're going to offer that to send them this stuff and they're going to fill out this form. We're going to get that information. That provides us an opportunity to follow up with them with whatever it is. Now, in our language here, we don't really specify what we're doing here. We could have improved this a little bit and said, we will email this to you. So now they know that this email address has to be a legit email address. We don't really say, we kind of leave it a little vague here. But that gives you the flexibility to follow up with people however you need to. Are they actually looking for this particular school district? Do they have questions about nearby ones? What about not just primary education? What about secondary education in the area? Middle schools, high schools, those kinds of things. Do all of them compare just as well as schools for younger kids? So you can tailor this message and tailor your outreach that follows up after it a little more with a little more customization. Our next one's a classic. I see this all the time, whether it's mold guides or buyer's guides or seller's guides or how to sell your home without being there guides, or did you know this about plumbing guides or dealing with pests guides? Oh my goodness. Shauna, we have seen hundreds of these over the years. This is one of the most popular kinds of landing pages that we see. And where these frequently fall apart is either they're too complicated, they provide too many opportunities to escape. So we have no navigation up here. They can't escape this page unless they close it. Or they aren't speaking to the right audience. So we're selling information about 55 plus communities to first-time home buyers somehow. Or whatever the case may be. Or maybe it's failing on a technical level, like we talked about earlier, where we're giving it away for too easily. We say get the guide, and when they click get the guide, we just deliver them a PDF file or whatever. And one of the neat things about our AgentFire sites is that we can have these guides and we can lock them up online, so that even if people share the link to the guide, they end up seeing a form or something like that that they need to fill out to unlock it, to view it. So people can still share the links, but you are still getting something from it if it's popular. This cool little animation here on the side too, usually we would have like a title or something like that there. I didn't have a particular guide in mind when I was making this, but this is something that you can easily put together inside of the back end of your website as well. And we're just speaking simple language. Yes, Shauna.
We've got so many Club Zebra articles, and some of them, as I've been writing them over the years, I would say things like, hey, this would make really excellent buyer sell. Put it in your buyer package, put this in your seller package. I mean, we've got things on like, mortgage basics and title and escrow basics. And I think we've got a glossary of terms, or preparing your home for sale. I mean, there's a lot of things that are in there that you can go ahead and take them, put them in your template, and then call it a guide. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a million pages for it to be a guide.
Yeah, these could be guides.
Uh-huh.
And you could use these as information inside of one of these articles, because you're using it in a restricted situation where it's not just out there for general consumption. So this would fall within our lines of use, in addition to electronic newsletters or using them to a printed mailing list.
Yeah. So, well, like the interest rate one on there, that's pretty timely. So I probably wouldn't do it on that one. But the other two, 7 essential spaces sellers should clean and organize before listing. This is like, there's corresponding articles that are about like more general cleaning. This one's about like, organizing this might be the fridge and cabinets and stuff like that. I just wrote it, but I can't remember what I wrote about it. But yeah, there's so much, like, you put together a couple of articles if you want it to feel meaty, throw some images in there and call it good.
Yeah. And these work better than a lot of the AI slop that I see out there, because these are written by a person who has intent, thinking about the audience, not just a AI that is putting together words that make sense with each other.
Right.
So there's more going on here when we're building these articles. They're not going to feel as generic as the kind of stuff you're going to get out of AI text generation. Okay, back to our guide. We got a little bit more going on here than our typical free guide page. We really built this one out. We're going to persuade people about why this is a must-have, just in case they didn't click on this button up here. give them some ideas of what they're going to get out of it, and then really kind of push it right now. So in this particular case, we should probably have said, because here we are falling for our own trap, we probably should have said, get a link to download your free guide now, or something like that, to imply that it's going to be sent to this email address so that they can download their guide. In other words, they got to trade us something real rather than click on get your guide and immediately download the form. Make sense? Yeah. We also see a lot of market reports out there. This is a great idea for a campaign. Here's what one of those looks like. This is an opportunity. Okay, well, let me frame this up a little better. So in AgentFire, we have access to a lot of different market stats that are available out there. So if I go to my good friend Steve Lavostu's website, he's using this feature. Now he just gives his away, but these are generated for him. And we can see they're just kind of really attractive. But if you wanted to, you could keep this for yourself or put it behind a login wall, or, you know, got to enter your email first or something like that. Or maybe you just have a bookmark going to it and you can create a PDF of this report on your own and then use that as a resource that you email out to people once a week or every other week or once a month. When you're providing, you know, value to people. This could be part of a newsletter. You could add some personal commentary to it, and now you've got this cool looking PDF that you can use as part of your marketing. So let's see, where were we? So they fill this out, and then you're going to send this to them. And by saying subscribe, we're telling them that they're going to get this market report on a regular basis. Now, Steve, he's doing all of Seattle. But with your AgentFire website or other tools at your disposal, because there are some competitors out there that can do kind of similar things, you can generate these reports for much smaller areas, like a municipal neighborhood or one side of town or a series of zip codes or whatever you like. So it doesn't have to be just an entire metropolis like Seattle. Pretty simple page. We're really only giving them one option of something to do here. And then last but not least, here we have the preview page. So the home's not actually on the market yet. And this one takes a little bit of footwork ahead of time, because if we haven't been geographically farming the area, if we haven't been using some of our other options, like open houses or nosy neighbors or things like that, then it may be challenging for us to have a specific list of people that we want to let know about a property that's coming on the market in their area. Sure, we could also do social media marketing. We could post a link to this page to Facebook and say, we want to boost this post to an audience that is within this area. And that could work. But this kind of gives people a sneak peek into like the early process. And it's also an opportunity to find like that specific list of people that you can then send your nosy neighbor link to and build that relationship and show your proof of process, or your just sold postcards, or your open house information, or those kinds of things. So you're using these campaigns all together to make your leads grow. I mean, that's what we want, right? We want more people. We want to grow our business.
I just want to throw in there, just follow your MLS and brokerage guidelines regarding pre-listing or listing properties that are not on the MLS. We're not encouraging you to do anything that would get you into trouble.
Absolutely. We're not, for example, we're not previewing what the price might be for this property. setting expectations ahead of time. No, you definitely follow the rules of your brokerage, follow the rules of your MLS. Okay, well, that is 9 great examples of different kinds of lead pages. And I want to show you one last tool to get people to those pages. Let's return back to where we started. We got our nosy neighbor right here. One of the things that I get asked a lot by our clients is, how do I make a QR code to get to this page? Now you could go to, say, QR Code Monkey, make yourself a beautiful custom QR code for free. I highly recommend it. It's super great. They work really well. Why not try it out? But your website here at AgentFire also has the ability to generate QR codes for you, and there's a couple ways to do it. I'm going to show you the very easiest one of all. And if you do it here, you're already going into your website to see, like, are people visiting your page and make adjustments and things like that, perhaps. So maybe this is a more convenient place for you than doing it somewhere else. Plus, it's really easy to do. There's 2 ways. The easiest way is just go up to your address bar up here, put hashtag QR. Create the code. Boom. I mean, can I make it easier than that? We can get an embed code. So what's that? That's something you could put in an electronic newsletter if you wanted to show this there and not just use the picture. You can download the picture and put it into your printed stuff. We can also go and manage our QR codes. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. What's that look like? So here's our QR code page. Now, if we wanted to get here through our dashboard, we would just go into our navigation, into Site Tools, and then down here at the bottom of our Site Tools are QR codes, and this is going to take us to exactly the same page. We could make a new one from here. And we can also just paste in an address if we want to. So it doesn't have to be a page from our website. It could be a page from anywhere. And the fun things about this is that as people click on these or go to them, that kind of stuff, this keeps track of how those QR codes are being used. So you can find out whether or not they're actually being successful or not. Now, we haven't visited any of these, but that's the idea. And you can also even download what we call an SVG file. And you can basically just think of that as like a picture that it doesn't matter how big it is. You could print it out and put it on a banner and show it at a Mariners game, or put it on the side of your van or whatever like that. And it's still going to look nice and crisp. It's not going to get all ugly and pixelated looking. So that's how you can make QR codes. Put those in your mailers, put them on your just sold cards, whatever. Get those people coming to the many different kinds of lead generation pages that I've shown you today. All right, we got a few minutes for questions, Shauna. What's on your mind?
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to put the link to set up a consultation with you, and again in the chat, because I think that there's a couple people here that seem to be a little curious about AgentFire. So if you want to talk websites with Randy, go ahead and click that link and just schedule it right on his calendar. Okay, I've got a question regarding interacting with the CRM. So when information comes in, like on a form, does it go into a CRM? And does AgentFire have a CRM? Like, what does that part of it look like?
Oh, that's a super question. I love whoever asked that. Thank you so much. You just gave me an opportunity to brag a little bit more about our websites. All right, so yes, CRMs are a great tool. You need to have a place where you're collecting all of the information about people that come into your website. So when they fill out that nosy neighbor or that market request or whatever have you, that isn't just like going into your email box where you might accidentally delete it or lose it or not see it, or maybe it's spam or that kind of thing. You have a centralized location that's a repository for all of your online leads and your offline ones, maybe too, if you're really into that. AgentFire makes it super easy. We do this in these websites, and we have here in our, where I got too many windows open. There we go. In our dashboard here, so we were looking at lead pages under site tools. So now we've gone into our dashboard. We have a lead manager, and this is a CRM. It's built into your site. It doesn't cost anything extra. It comes with your services. It comes with the same services that you're paying for that gives you all these cool tools, including all of the lead pages that are in here. Oh, I didn't even show you guys how easy these are to make. I should do that. Anyway, so the CRM, you go in, you can go to the lead manager, you can view all of your leads. Now, I have no idea what I'm going to see here because I don't publicize this website. It's just for testing.
Right.
But in here, hey, we've got me and one other fake account that I made. And we can go in here and we can see everything that this person has done on our website. So if I had made a request and then came back and looked at a bunch of listings, we would see all of that happening. Now, this was a long time ago, and I run a lot of privacy stuff, so it doesn't have any updated information on me. Here's Don. Oh, okay, so Don first visited us on March
Snazzy.
9th, and he looked at one of our convert pages, filled out a contact form, and filled out a Find Your Dream Home form. In fact, if we look at this, we click on it, we can see the information that they typed in. And then Don came back. He didn't sign in or anything. We just recognized him, and he looked at one of our buyer's guides. Okay. And maybe Don comes back in May and looks at some listings on our website. Now, we don't have any listings on our testing website, but maybe Don comes back and looks at some listings. We would see what listings Don looked at too. So we track all of that information, and we can leave notes. We can schedule reminders for us to give them a call or that kind of thing. Now, if you need a more robust CRM, maybe there's something you want to do, like you want to use some kind of automation to augment your personal outreach that's going on. Super easy. We can connect a CRM to AgentFire. So now somebody fills out your Nosey neighbor form, you get an email. They show up in your AgentFire's dashboard of your website, but then a copy of them is also sent to some other CRM as well. Maybe your electronic newsletter, so we can automatically sign people up and save you time. Maybe you're using Wise Agent or Follow Up Boss, and you want to get people more information and use that automation to augment your personalized campaign. You can totally do that. It's really easy.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you just talk about drip campaigns for just like 60 seconds and then we'll wrap up?
Drip campaigns. Okay, so you mean drip campaigns like listing drip campaigns, or drip campaigns
Like you had
outreach?
mentioned the whole single story homes, like you're getting updated listings or maybe the market reports. And
Yeah.
so they're just getting like a link to that via email, or how does that, how do you set that? Like, is it within AgentFire that you're going and setting that up, or
Okay.
how does that work?
So the classic drip campaign would just be, say, an electronic newsletter that you put together once a week, or maybe you're just sending people listings. Now, the newsletter, what's the big difference between the two? Personal touch versus something that feels very automated.
Yeah.
And what you're probably looking for is a balance between the two. Because 100% personal touch is a lot of work, but complete automation feels very generic and dull. So what we could do then is get these market reports, create a PDF, mail that out to your marketing list. So all the content's created for you, and all you're doing is adding a little personalized note to it. That's all. When you're starting small, you could even do this inside of Outlook or Gmail or whatever, and BCC all of your people included as an attachment and keep it super simple. But as your list grows, the value of it's going to grow, and that can justify a little bit of extra work on your part. So maybe now you're using MailChimp, or maybe you have some other service that's letting you send that information out on a regular, consistent basis. That consistency is important because it gets people used to listening to you as the expert rather than looking elsewhere for expertise. You become their go-to. It's the path of least resistance. and you become familiar to them. They start recognizing your face. They recognize your style of speech inside of their inbox. So that familiarity leads to business. It really does.
Excellent.
And,
Well, that's a great summary, but do you have anything else you'd like to say and as we're wrapping up here?
okay, I just want to say, as a little bonus to you guys, these are so easy to make. Now, some of you have seen this before, but I'm going to demonstrate it just one more time because I can do this in 30 seconds, and you can too. We're going to go to our lead pages. We're going to make a new one. I'm going to start from one of the many templates they have here. You'll recognize some of them. And let's go ahead and just like aim for that nosy neighbor page. It's the big, beautiful page here. We've got it. We're just going to say create. We're going to accept the styling that they're going to put on it rather than make our own. And we're going to give it a name. Here's the address so that we can send it out to our social media. Create page. There it is.
You can customize it. It's super awesome.
So easy. All we got to do now is we just go in and we fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
And you too can have a beautiful looking nosy neighbor page that's customized with your language and your personalized message in the style of you. That's how
Hey,
easy
Randy,
it is to do.
there's a question. What is the monthly expense on something like an AgentFire site?
Okay, AgentFire sites, the base cost, if you don't have MLS connected to it, is $119. So $119 a month. And that gets you all of those lead pages, the QR code tracking, the CRM, and a ton of other features. I could do webinar after webinar on the many features, and they're adding new stuff to it several times a month. So
Yeah,
more
you said
guides,
something
more
like every
landing
10
pages.
days or something. It was something
Yeah,
crazy.
every 10 days, I'm seeing some great new feature added. The most recent
Great.
one was they added a huge training area that they're calling Tribe, where you can go in and learn all about online marketing. So whether you're a total beginner or you've got some established chops like I do, there's room to go in and commiserate with other people that are learning about it and using it and grow your knowledge. So that's just included along with it.
That's awesome. Wow, that was a lot today. My goodness.
It
Well,
was a
thank you
lot.
all
Oh my
for joining
goodness,
us,
we filled a
Randy.
whole hour with that.
Oh my, yeah, easily. Yeah, I can see. Thank you, Randy, for all your expertise. And we'll see you all next week for bolster your reputation with a professional online presence. Your online presence could be a heroic partner to your business or a silent wound that is hurting you without even knowing, knowing. We'll be discussing the value of the online presence, what you should have, even if you're not marketing online, the highest value places to have your presence polished, and the details worth focusing on. A good online presence makes a difference, so don't miss this episode. We will see you then. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, no more ugly profiles. We're going to be looking at that next week. Take
Sounds
care.
good. Looking
We'll see
forward
you
to
next
it.
week.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.